Have you ever felt like you were at a crossroads, one path leading to success, and the other a path of failure, procrastination, and worry? You know you need to move forward, but something seems to be holding you back. You feel the power of resistance from habits that, sometimes, you don't even realize, are working against you. Imagine, every step you take forward, every effort you make is being pulled back by those habits. The habit of complaining, seeking validation from others, letting emotions rule, pursuing absolute perfection. All of these are blurring your path to success. But you can change this right now. It's just one decision. Don't let these anti-Stoic habits continue to hold you back. Instead, come aware of them and start your journey to change. You don't have to do it alone. Let me help you explore each habit, figure out how to overcome them, and move forward to the success you deserve. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to never miss out on any content that will help you improve yourself. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Every opinion counts in this journey. Greatness. Seeking external validation, self-destructive or the key to self-discovery? Have you ever wondered why you always need validation from others? Have you ever stopped to wonder why, no matter how hard you try, you never feel satisfied with the praise you receive from others? If so, you're not alone. Let me tell you straight, seeking external validation is the fastest way to self-destruct. And if you don't realize this soon, you will be stuck in that vicious cycle forever, never really knowing who you are. Why do we need validation? Let's start with a basic question. Why do we need validation from others? Why do we feel like we are not good enough, not worthy enough, if we don't receive nods and compliments from people around us? Simply because our minds are programmed to seek validation from outside. It's like an imaginary mirror, which we use to measure our own worth by how others see us. But stop for a moment and think carefully. Does that mirror really reflect who you are? Or is it just an illusion, a distorted image that you have created in your mind? And the self-comparison trap that it is dangerous. We often get caught in the trap of comparing ourselves to others. How many times have you found yourself standing in front of the mirror, just wondering how you look compared to others? Have you ever asked yourself, am I beautiful enough? Am I smart enough? Am I liked by others? And if the answer is not what you expected, you start to panic, lose confidence, and feel small. You start looking for validation from others to fill that hole of self-doubt. But remember, it's all in your head. With Stoicism, a philosophy that has been around for thousands of years, teaches us that happiness and self-worth come not from external factors, but from within our own minds and the way we perceive the world. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "If you encounter something difficult, do not think of it as a misfortune, but rather as a challenge for you to grow." This means that you should not seek validation from others to feel worthy. Instead, see the challenges and difficulties you encounter as opportunities for you to grow. You have the power to determine your worth, not anyone else. The truth about the self. Let's face it, you don't really know who you are, do you? And because of that ambiguity, you feel the need to seek validation from others. Here's the thing. Yourself is not something that can be clearly or specifically defined. It's not something you can find somewhere, and it's certainly not something that others can validate for you. Every time you try to find the answer to the question, who am I? You're just embarking on an endless, never-ending quest. Stoicism teaches us that instead of looking for validation from the outside, look for it from within. Ask yourself, am I proud of my actions? Am I living up to the values I believe in? If the answer is yes, then that's all you need. Don't let other people's opinions shake your self-esteem and self-worth. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you that matters, how you react to it. You can go through life without ever receiving validation from others, but that doesn't mean you're not valuable. Stop putting yourself in the position of a weakling, always looking for acceptance from others. You are good enough, strong enough, smart enough, not because someone told you so, but because you already know it in your heart. So what's the solution to this problem? The first step to getting out of the trap of seeking validation from others is to realize that you are the only one who has the power to determine your worth. Don't wait for someone to tell you that you're good, that you're worthy. You already know that. Create your own I, based on the values you believe in and the actions you're proud of. Don't let others define who you are. Do it yourself. Once you take control of this, you will realize that seeking validation from others is pointless. You don't need someone to tell you that you are worthy. You know it yourself. And when you achieve this, you will no longer be stuck in the cycle of comparing yourself and seeking approval from others. And you are the one who decides everything. In the end, the question, who am I, can only be answered by you. No one can give you that answer, and no one can validate it for you. Take control, create your own I, and live it. Don't let anyone or anything influence how you see yourself. You are the one who decides everything, and you have the right to do it. Once you realize this, you will no longer need validation from anyone. And that's when you truly understand your worth. Pursuing excessive pleasure, the path to emptiness or true joy? Do you ever feel that your current life is filled with fleeting pleasures, short-term pleasures that do not really bring lasting joy? Surely, we all have times when we want to escape pressure, seek things that bring instant gratification. But have you ever wondered whether those pleasures really make you happy, or are just a way for you to temporarily escape pain? Stoic philosophy does not teach us to run away from life, but to face it strongly and directly. So why do you seek fleeting pleasures instead of seeking true happiness from within? Are you letting short-term pleasures obscure the long-term values that you really need? The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once reminded us that true happiness lies not in superficial things, but in the quality of our thoughts and action. Do you think that pursuing short-term pleasures will lead you to true happiness? If you still think that pleasure is the ultimate goal of life, then you are going against the values Stoic philosophy advocates. Epicurus, the most misunderstood ancient philosopher of hedonism, did not advocate living a life of pure pleasure. He asserted that pleasure is the key to happiness, but not physical pleasure, but mental pleasure. You may think that pursuing short-term pleasures will bring you satisfaction, but in reality, they will only lead you into a spiral of emptiness and dissatisfaction. Imagine you are at a lavish banquet. The table is filled with delicious food and lavish drinks. It can be easy to get caught up in indulging, but ask yourself, is the joy I feel in the moment truly lasting, or is it just a short-lived satisfaction? After a feast, you may feel bloated, even regretting having eaten so much. This is the trap of excessive pursuit of pleasure. Stoicism reminds us that true joy comes not from fleeting pleasures, but from living a life of purpose and meaning. So why not stop and take a look at how you are pursuing pleasures in your life? Are you chasing after things that make you feel good in the moment, but ignoring the long-term values that you really need? Epicurus divided pleasure into two types: active pleasure and quiet pleasure. Active pleasure is short-term pleasure, such as eating, shopping, or participating in recreational activities. Quiet pleasure, on the other hand, is the spiritual satisfaction, the peace of mind we feel when we achieve a great goal or overcome a difficult challenge. Do you dare to accept that the active pleasures you are pursuing are just ways to avoid pain and uncertainty in life? Do you really believe that they will bring lasting happiness? If you keep chasing after those pleasures, you will only feel empty and dissatisfied with your current life. Stoicism teaches that to be truly happy, we need to avoid fleeting pleasures and focus on lasting values. This does not mean that you have to give up all the pleasures in life, but you need to know how to choose the joys that bring lasting value. Remember that what you do today will affect the quality of your life in the future. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Pay attention to what is most important in life, and do not be distracted by fleeting things." You have the courage to let go of short-term pleasures to focus on bigger goals? You can choose to live a stoic life so that your days become more meaningful instead of just chasing after instant pleasures. So what should you do to escape the spiral of excessive pursuit of pleasure? First of all, you need to understand that spiritual joy is more important than physical joy. You can eat a delicious meal, but that joy will disappear as soon as the meal is finished. In contrast, spiritual joy will last forever, helping you feel satisfied and peaceful in your soul. Try setting bigger goals, goals that you know will bring lasting value to your life. Don't be afraid of suffering, because it is an indispensable part of life. Instead of running away from it, face it and learn to overcome it. Only when you dare to face pain, you can truly feel complete joy. Remember, hedonism is not self-indulgence, as many people misunderstand. It teaches us that true joy does not come from pursuing immediate pleasures, but from peace of mind and satisfaction with what we have achieved. You can choose to live a life of short-term pleasure, but can you achieve true happiness? If you really want to live a meaningful life, focus on lasting values, bigger goals. Don't let yourself get lost in fleeting pleasures. Be proactive. Take control of your life instead of letting life control you. Stoicism teaches us that true happiness lies not in superficial things, but in inner peace. Do you have the courage to give up fleeting pleasures and seek true happiness? That is the question you need to answer if you really want to live a meaningful life. Complaining about things out of your control, a habit you need to break right now. Do you often complain about things that you can't control? Do you feel like life is full of injustice, and every time something goes wrong, you find yourself whining and blaming fate? If you're nodding in agreement, you're making things difficult for yourself and missing out on the opportunity to live a peaceful and contented life. Be honest with yourself. Do you find that every time you complain, you only feel more tired and don't solve anything? Do you find that your complaints not only hurt your mood, but also affect those around you? Instead of spending time enjoying the good things you have, you waste energy on things you can't change. Don't make yourself a victim of life by complaining about things that are out of your control. Imagine you are in the middle of a wonderful picnic. Everyone around is happy, the sun is shining, the food is delicious. Then suddenly, dark clouds gather and it starts to rain. What is your first reaction? If you are someone who always pays attention to negative things, you will quickly complain about the weather, blaming your bad luck. But the truth is, what is wrong with rain? Rain is natural, part of life. You cannot control the weather, so why let it ruin your mood? Complaining is a terrible habit. Not only does it waste energy, but it also makes your mind sink into negativity. Every time you complain, you are dragging yourself down a quagmire of dissatisfaction and resentment. And what is worse, complaining does not bring any benefit. It does not change the situation, does not solve the problem, and certainly does not make your life better. You have a choice. You can continue to complain about things you can't change, or you can learn to accept them and find ways to adapt. Remember, life is never perfect, and there will always be things that go wrong. But instead of letting them control you, control how you react to them. To break out of the habit of complaining, you need to change your attitude. Instead of focusing on the negatives, focus on the positives that you can control. When faced with a difficult situation, ask yourself, what can I do to change this? What can I learn from this? By focusing on the solution instead of the problem, you will find that life becomes much easier. You may think that you don't have the power to change things, but the truth is that you always have control over how you react to life. Marcus Aurelius, the great emperor and Stoic philosopher, once said, "You have control over your mind, not over external events." That means, no matter what happens in life, you have a choice in how you respond to it. You can choose to complain and become a victim of circumstances, or you can choose to accept and adapt, turning difficulties into opportunities for growth. This life is not for the weak, always complaining about things they cannot change. You want to live a life of freedom, peace, and happiness? Start by giving up the habit of complaining. Stop whining and start taking action. Take control of your mind. Don't let things beyond your control control your life. This life is yours, and you decide how you will live it. Become the master of your destiny. Start by eliminating the habit of complaining right now. Becoming a slave to your emotions. You're wasting your life without realizing it. Think about it. How many times have you let your emotions dictate your actions? How many times have you gotten angry over a careless word from someone? How many times have you let sadness drag on and rule your days? You are one of these people. Then sorry, but you are making yourself a slave to your emotions. And this is nothing short of destroying your chances of becoming the best version of yourself. You may find this hard to accept. How can you live without emotions, right? Yes, emotions are an indispensable part of being human. But the problem is not having or not having emotions, but letting emotions dictate your actions and decisions. That's the scary thing. When you let your emotions control you, you are giving up control of your life. You become a puppet, manipulated by your own erratic and unpredictable emotions. And if you continue like this, you will never achieve your great goals in life. A man who can control his impulses, his desires, and his fears is more than a king. Those were the words of Professor John Milton, a man who understood that true strength does not come from power or fame, from the ability to control one's emotion. We humans are made of blood, flesh, of 7 emotions and 6 desires. Some people can control all of them, while others can only conquer the flesh and blood. But what about the weak? They let their emotions lead them, like a hungry animal, always driven by impulsive feelings, never knowing how to control or restrain. Controlling emotions is not just about staying calm in stressful situations, but also about the ability to handle problems objectively, not letting emotions cloud reason. When you encounter a situation that makes you upset, try to look at the problem from a different angle, from a different position. Sometimes you need to ask yourself, is it really necessary for me to be angry, sad, or worried? Will this problem still be worth worrying about 10 years from now? Think about it. Do you really want to live next to a human bomb that can explode at any time just because of an unpleasant word? Or do you want to become a person who can control your emotions, handle all situations calmly and intelligently? When you let your emotions dominate, you are creating a life full of stress and pressure. The more you think about negative things, the more you let yourself get caught up in a spiral of anger and dissatisfaction. You will not be able to enjoy life, cannot learn or experience new things. You become a slave to your own emotions, always haunted by things that do not matter. Be kind to yourself. Instead of letting yourself get angry, why don't you try doing something that makes you happier? Why not try going out for a nice meal, or doing something you like? Life is for enjoying, not for wallowing in negative emotions. I was once asked, how can I get rid of someone who is always on my mind? I can't let him take up space in my head like that. I'm not that rich. And the answer is simple. Don't let others live in your head for free. They live comfortably and happily while you waste your precious time being angry and resentful. Is that worth it? Meditate and control your rational heart. Instead of sleeping in, try waking up early, spending a few minutes meditating in a quiet space. This is not only a way to calm your mind, but also helps you regain balance and control your emotions better. Meditation is a great tool for communicating with yourself, understanding yourself, and accepting what you are. Life is not always easy, not always full of roses. But if you know how to control your emotions, you will find that you can go through all difficulties more easily. As Marcus Aurelius said, your mind becomes what you think about. So be careful what you think. Control your mind and emotions. Don't let them control you. Remember, controlling emotions is not about restraining them, but knowing how to use them effectively. You can be gentle, but don't let gentleness turn into weakness. You can be strong, but don't let strength turn into rigidity. Be the master of your emotions. Never be their slave. Life doesn't wait for anyone. If you let your emotions control you, you will miss out on many wonderful things in life. Take control of your emotions. Live a life where you are truly in control. Don't let anyone or anything drag you down. You deserve a good life. And that starts with taking control of your own emotion. The search for perfection in everything. Never-ending chase. Do you ever feel like you are in a race against yourself, always trying to achieve perfection in everything? Have you ever thought that if things are not absolutely perfect, you will not be satisfied? If the answer is yes, then you are probably engaged in an endless and meaningless chase. It is a tiring journey, taking you further and further away from true happiness. Perfection. Painful illusion. In today's busy life, it is easy to get caught up in the illusion of perfection. We think that if we just achieve something perfect, we will be happy forever. You try to do your job well, make everything as perfect as possible. Your colleagues admire you, your superiors praise you, and you feel proud of what you have achieved. But then you realize that while you were chasing that so-called perfection, you missed out on so many precious moments with your family, friends, and even yourself. And then when you look back, you see that the perfection you thought you had achieved was just a facade. Behind that glittering appearance is fatigue, exhaustion, and sometimes loneliness. Because the painful truth is, perfection does not exist. Everything in this life has flaws, little cracks that we often do not want to see. But it is those cracks that really make our lives meaningful. Accepting imperfection. First step to freedom. Stoic philosophy has taught us that happiness does not come from controlling everything around us, but from controlling our reactions to them. We can't change the fact that things are imperfect, but we can change the way we look at them. Forget about dreams of a perfect world where everything is perfect. Because if you keep looking for perfection, you will never be satisfied. Even the most beautiful vase has a crack. And that crack can be where the light comes in. Instead of trying to hide or remove imperfections, accept them as a natural part of life. Why? Because they are the truth. And the truth is always there, whether you accept it or not. You may think that accepting imperfection is a weakness, an acceptance of failure, but it is not. Accepting imperfection does not mean you give up striving to be better. It is a strong attitude, a wise one. It's understanding that life is never black or white, but always has shades of gray in between. Seeing the beauty in imperfection. When you begin to accept that nothing is perfect, you'll feel a lot lighter. You'll no longer feel pressured to achieve unattainable standards. Instead, you'll begin to see life in a different light. Try taking some time each day to look at the flaws, imperfections in things you once thought were perfect. It could be scratches on your beloved car, small errors in a project you're working on, or mistakes you've made in the past. When you see them, don't judge them, don't criticize them. Instead, look for the meaning. Look for the lessons they bring. Because when you see the core of the problem, you'll realize that everything has a reason to exist. Those flaws, instead of diminishing your worth, are what help you learn and grow. They are valuable lessons that life gives you, and if you know how to use them, they will become invaluable sources of strength. Don't force everything to be perfect. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You can't change your flaws, you can change how you perceive them. Don't try to force everything to be perfect, the way you want it to be. Because perfection only exists in your imagination. Instead of striving for perfection, focus on making progress every day. That's what really matters. Remember, progress is a journey, not a destination. Every day you just try to be better than you were yesterday, and that's a huge success. Enjoy the good and imperfection. Finally, remember that life is inherently imperfect. But it's that imperfection that makes life unique. If you keep looking for perfection, you'll miss out on the little joys and happiness that life brings. Learn to enjoy the good in imperfection. Love your family, friends, and yourself, no matter what their flaws are. Because no one and nothing is perfect. And that's what makes life interesting and worth living. In your quest for perfection, you may have lost many precious things, but it is never too late to change your perspective. Remember, perfection is not the ultimate goal. What matters is that you have tried, learned, and grown every day. Accepting imperfection is not accepting failure, but a way for you to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Are you brave enough to give up perfection and live true to yourself? That is what truly makes you valuable in this life. The journey to overcome anti-Stoic habits is not easy, but each small change will lead you to a more prosperous and successful life. Remember, change starts from within you. And when you control these habits, nothing can stop you from achieving your goals. If you find this content helpful, please like to help spread this message to more people. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos that help you develop yourself. I look forward to receiving your shares and thoughts in the comments section. Let's create a strong community where we learn and grow together. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.